Hello and welcome to the Tainted and Tempted Podcast. I'm your host, Asia. Now, for the past 2 weeks, I haven't recorded a new episode of Tainted and Tempted Podcast, but I've also been updating on my Instagram and my Facebook, and this is why I really ask nicely for everyone to add me on my Instagram, which is Tainted and Tempted _TV, and my business page on Facebook, which is Tainted _Tempted Podcast. So you can get my updates, you get my live subscribes, everything, because I'm doing a lot of things when I'm not on YouTube or audioly on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. So everyone, hello and welcome to a new episode of Tainted and Tempted Podcast. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be reciting something for my audience today. So I just want to jump right into it. And I want to talk about the mass shootings that are occurring everywhere. We have New York, hello, here. We have Texas and we have Buffalo. No matter the order, no matter when it happened, but it's happening all back to back to back. And this is a serious case of mass shootings. A lot of things are going on. A lot of gun violence is trying to end. We got laws put in place, but are we really going to stick to it? How are we really going to get guns off the street the way it is today? So I just want to talk about that today, and I just want to talk about how the main illness behind this is mental illness, and mental illness is something that needs to be discussed. So what is mental illness? Mental illness is basically something that goes along with your brain. You have illness in your mental brain, and it could be an illness as far as depression, anxiety, bipolar, post-traumatic stress disorder. It could be schizophrenia. It could be anything mentally messing with your brain. And to be exact, everybody suffers from some kind of form of mental illness. Growing up in New York City, growing up anywhere, it is some kind of mental illness going on. But some people go beyond. Their illnesses go further. They think about killing their family. They think about hurting people, doing bad things to others because they're feeling bad on the inside. So they want everyone to feel what they feel. So that is basically what mental illness is. How does mental illness affect families? Mental illnesses affect families in a lot of ways, because sometimes, when you're suffering with a mental illness, your family might not know what to do or how to accompany you with this mental illness because they're not aware of it, and you're not aware either. You just know that you have it. So it does affect families in a lot of ways, and it's best that all family members get educated on the mental illnesses that their family member can be going through. How can we deal with mental illnesses in our communities? Well, we can deal with mental illness in our communities because we've been dealing with it. But sometimes it gets over to the point that we can't deal with it. And it leads to massive shootings. It leads to killings. It leads to massive chaos that we cannot face. So, yes. So what resources are available for mental health? Institutions, hospitals, they have outpatient therapists, they have inpatient therapists, it's a lot of things in place. And now that it's being talked about on television, a lot more about mental illnesses, a lot of things are coming through, even on, me just scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, I always see BetterHelp. And BetterHelp is a counseling therapist service that helps children and young adults and adults with therapy sessions, and they have a payment plan if you don't have insurance, and they have ways to help you with outpatient therapy. So how can we advocate the stigma around mental health? Well, we need more activists. I wouldn't mind being an activist for mental health. But we need more activists, and we need more politicians to push mental illness a lot more. Now that the law is happening with the gun violence, it needs to be a law about mental illness that kids kids in high school, kids in junior high school, it's mandatory for them to get counseling, whether they need it or not, just to sit down with a therapist and just make sure they're just up to date with their life and nothing is going on, nothing traumatic is happening in their life to the point they have to take off and do something drastic, and a lot of these massive shootings that just happened were young kids, or not just young kids, but it was just kids. It was young kids. They're not in their 50s or 60s, it was just kids, young adults. And the reason why I'm stressing this fact is it really was a kid, just going through something traumatic in his family and just rationed out and just, oh my God, there's so many stories like this, and there's so many mass shootings with a elementary school, or it's so many shootings in schools. Okay. So the next question I have is, what can we do for homeless individuals that have mental health? Well, what we can do is, like Mayor Adams is doing as well, is to get the homeless off the street and get them in shelters and get them help. But it goes to show that the shelter system is not too good. The shelter system is horrible. So nobody can really deal with that. It's just a lot of homeless people don't want to go in a shelter. They rather just live out on the street. So, it's really but so much we can do for homeless individuals, but make sure they are opted to get therapy sessions, outpatient and inpatient, whether they have insurance or not, because homeless people are going through a lot mentally as well. So we got to put forward with that too. Anybody can be going through something mentally. Get help and get a therapist right away. What are the early signs to look for with individuals suffering from mental health? Well, what are the signs? Shying away, not looking like they're interested in what you have to say, always staying home, not wanting to be around others. Just, your friend or your family member always looking sad. Something is always bothering them. Something's on their mind. It's just so many things. But you know what? It's a lot of people that cover it up well as well. They could be all bright and gloomy and shiny on the outside and could be suffering on the inside. So it's really give and take at this moment. But when you look for the signs that I just said, look in their eyes, look how they're, gravitating to the situation. Are they alert? Are they bothered? Are they having fun? Or even when they're overly too fun, is everything okay? Check in like that. How should we react to a violent person with mental health issues? Well, we should react calmly and we should act respectfully, because we're not the one dealing with the illness. They are. And we have to be mindful that they have an illness, and at any given time, that illness can make them do X, Y, and Z. So we need to treat it with care, and we need to let them know that we understand what you're going through and we're here with you through it. Okay? Now, mental illness is very challenging and is something people deal with daily, and something that needs to be top priority. Okay, it needs to be top priority. Okay, so the next segment I want to talk about is wellness. What can we do with wellness? Okay, what are some things you can do when you're not feeling well mentally? Now, when I say this is wellness, first we talked about mental illness. Now I want to talk about wellness. What can you do for yourself to mentally get out of that fog? Okay, and what are some things you can do when you're feeling well mentally? When you're not feeling well mentally, take a day off. Take a mental health day. Take a rest. Read a book. Self-care. Take a bath. Rewind. Pray. Talk to the Lord. Write in your journal. Do some soul prop entries. Anything to stimulate your mind and get you back on that feeling of goodness and greatness that you have within yourself. Okay? So take a day or take a vacation if you can. Go to a retreat. Meditate. Talk to the Lord. It's so many things you can do with wellness. And that's what I say when it's we need to have more advocates, and we need to have more politicians to really stress the fact of meditation, stress the facts of affirmations, stress the fact of journaling, taking walks. We need to have commercials that's really about this, someone talking about it on television, letting people know, hey, this is what I do when I'm feeling in a fog. Why not do it as well? So it's so many things that you have to open your mind up to gradually in order to get out of that fog. And I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not easy to be in that fog and to be down and don't want to do everything. thing. Everybody gets there. We're all human beings at the end of the day, but it's ways to get out of it. And you have to educate your mind and stimulate your mind and know that there is something out there that can help you to get out that fog. And when you get back in that fog, you know how to get out of it again. And you can also share this information with someone else and let them know, because this is a serious condition that millions of people get and is never discussed. So when someone is out there having a mental illness or just struggling, you never know what they're going through, and helping them in each and every way makes it so much better. And I wrote these things down. Journaling helps, affirmations, therapy, talking with a loved one, talking with a friend or family, just getting your feelings off, just letting them know how you're feeling for the day. Taking a walk with nature, being with God, being with one. Prayers, just praying to the Lord, what you're thankful for, what you need help in, what can he help you with. Pray to the Lord for the strength and the guidance to get through the day. Write down what you're grateful for, that you have in your life, that you accomplished, that you're still going to accomplish, and what you're going to do going forward. Take your medication if you've been prescribed. For anxiety, for depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, all these illnesses, yes, they prescribe medication for. Some people do it the holistic way. Some people do it with medication. Some people do it with both. But however you do it, take your medication if you're prescribed so you can feel much better within. A healthy diet, eating healthy. I'm learning more about alkaline diets. I am learning about a lot of vegetables, a lot of fast food, artificial foods that we've been eating for years now. I'm just going to be honest, we still have it on television, Popeyes, everything. That's not real chicken. We just have all this artificial stuff, and that's what makes money in New York City, in this world. So they're going to keep promoting it. But you have to do the research on yourself, and you have to find out if these foods are really good for you or healthy for you, or also with your illness, if you're suffering for an illness and you're trying to heal, because I believe there's a cure for everything. And plenty of rest. Make sure you rest. That is one thing you have to do. Make sure you rest, make sure you get your sleep, and make sure you are perfect for the next day, so you could start these rituals like it's nothing. And and don't have this stigma on you that, oh my God, I have a mental illness, I'm crazy, something is wrong with me, nobody's ever going to consider me as one. Don't have that stigma on you. Don't even think like that. Everybody suffers from some kind of mental illness. Everybody suffers from some kind of illness. Everybody on this earth is not perfect. So you have to know that, and you cannot let the world or what other people say get to you, because it's a real world out here, and we all have to. It's a real world out here. That's all I have to say. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for tuning in to Tainted and Tempted Podcast. I'm your host, Asia, and make sure you subscribe down low to the Tainted and Tempted Podcast so you could get more updates, email subscriptions, and more of me. And also add me on my Instagram, which is Tainted and Tempted _TV, my business page, which is Tainted 2 Tempted Podcast. And you can also hear me on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Hear me visually, see me visually, and also hear me audially. Why not have it both ways with me? Yes, I love it. I love what I'm doing, and I hope you love it as well. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.